Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Leo's Harmony, and today we're doing a general reading. Um, I have three piles here that you can choose from. Please choose whatever really calls to you. There really is no wrong answer, and I'm sure if you feel like you're called to other piles, maybe there's more messages for you in that. But I'll give you some time to look at a pile that might interest you, and then we will go ahead and get started with the reading. Hi, pile one. Welcome to your reading. Uh, we are going to look at a few oracle cards here and then we'll go into tarot. So your first card is Leap. It says you go first. The universe will catch you. The second card you got here is I affirm that all life is sacred. Your third card here is slow down to relax, and it says break to enjoy the beauty around you. So it seems like maybe you're going to start something new. It could be something that you're kind of scared of because it says that you need to go first over here and that the universe will kind of catch you. So maybe it's something that you're not really wanting to kind of do because you're kind of scared. But I your guides are basically telling you that things are fine. So there's nothing to worry about there. You also got a card that says I affirm that all life is sacred, and one that says slow down to relax. So I think these two are kind of related to each other here, where maybe there is something for you to start, but they're kind of taking you towards that scenic path rather than um, something that'll kind of, you know, be kind of scary to go around. It's like taking like that scenic road down like a mountain or something. That's like really beautiful, and I think that's what your guides are kind of like telling you here. But let's get started with some tarot. I'm gonna go ahead and pull all the tarot cards, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so for tarot, you got the Emperor, you got the Six of Swords, the Magician, Four of Cups, Five of Cups, and the King of Swords. So it seems like with the Emperor, it's like someone who's very confident, who's really put together like a leader. That's kind of like where you're starting off with all of this. And then the Six of Swords is kind of like someone who's very determined and who's gonna like kind of start something new. Now with the Magician, it's someone who's like very much like a manifester, who's like really excited about life and um, who kind of is like this magician persona who like kind of like knows how to do everything and like learn and all of this and that. And then with the Four of Cups and Five of Cups, it's kind of like, oh, you're kind of disappointed. It's not really what you were looking for. But then with the King of Swords, it's talking about how this pretty much comes in full circle with like a whole like leader. And Swords talks about the mind. So maybe your mental state wasn't good, which caused your emotions to kind of come to a state that you don't want them to. But now that you kind of see uh, how things are fine and like this is really a more stable type of environment for you, then that is something that you kind of think that is better than what you were in before. So it's pretty much like this is a whole story here. And I think the Emperor here with the Six of Swords and the Magician is talking about this leap here, where you kind of have to go first and you kind of have to make that decision to kind of start. And then maybe it seems like you don't appreciate too much about what you're going through or like what is being given to you. Or maybe you're too caught up in um, like wanting something big rather than something small. So here with this oracle card, it says, I affirm that all life is sacred. And then another one says to slow down, to relax, to break, to enjoy the beauty around you. So maybe it's like your guide saying that, like not everything has to be huge, like this huge surprise or gift or anything like that. Like the small things matter too. And if you look there, there is like an insect. And it does talk about all life is sacred. So it's kind of like talking about how you need to appreciate the small things in life. And maybe this period that you might go through in the future is not a period where you kind of realize that. But eventually, you do kind of reach the end where that is something that you realize, and that is something that will be something that you get over. But let's pull a few more oracle cards to kind of get more information. Seems like this card wants to come out. This one says energy rising, vitality, confidence, power, and decisiveness. Let's move this one here. And maybe let's do one more. Oops. The gateway. Open doors, opportunities, and right timing. So maybe it seems like you're I think this card is talking about the confidence that you feel here, where you don't really want to start things. You kind of want to like wait and like let someone else push you. It's kind of like bungee jumping, I guess, right? Where you either like take the initiative to kind of like leap forward, or maybe someone will push you and you kind of just fall and bounce back. Um, so it's kind of saying to have that confidence to kind of start, because you are a confident person, but you kind of like have to, for some reason, you're a little scared of like what's to come, of making this start in whatever that is for you. That can be a move, that can be a conversation you want to have with someone, or a new job, or like, anything really. Um, so go ahead and start that. There might be a period where you don't really like where it's going, but then you kind of realize, yeah, it's fine. And this is kind of like what I wanted. So I think that'll really open new doors for you and opportunities. And it's pretty much like this is the right timing for whatever you are going to receive with that. Um, let us pull a few more oracle cards. And maybe we'll get more information. So literally what the whole reading has been saying, change. And it says, as with the falling leaves, embrace change. So it's kind of telling you like, hey, go ahead and start that. It says, twilight, surrender to the last hour when the light barely touches the flowers. I think this card is a little interesting because if you want to think about it in another way, Twilight can kind of signify an ending to a chapter if it's talking about the last hour here. And your guides are telling you to change. So maybe you're so comfortable in the environment that you're in right now that you're kind of refusing to change. Um, and it's kind of like your guides are trying to give you something because if you see here, it talks about open doors and opportunities and right timing. Um, so maybe it's just really reaffirming that you need to go ahead and take that leap and go ahead and start. And it isn't something that you should be scared of. Let's see if we can get another here. Oh, we got two. Okay. So one of them is self-care, and it says tend to your garden. Um, so in a way, I think it also relates to this card here, where it says all life is sacred. So I think that's also really talking about your life and your self-care. Like you are sacred, you are worth the time, like for anything. You are allowed to take up space, but you really need to tend to your own garden as well. Tend to yourself. You need a self-care. Flowers don't bloom without water and sunlight, and you need that. And if we actually notice here, it talks about energy rising. So maybe like your energy right now is not where it needs to be. Um, it's a little low and you kind of like need it to light up more, right? So because of that, maybe you're not taking a leap that you're meant to take. Maybe you're not receiving what you're receiving because you're not, you know, in that headspace or that energy to like kind of receive things. And with your last oracle card, you got strength. And it says, don't let weeds and thistles cultivate in your garden. So funny how this kind of like fell with this card. And I think that's really reaffirming the negativity here, right? So it says, don't let weeds and thistles cultivate in your garden. And it says, tend to your garden. So that's kind of funny. Um, really, basically, what we just talked about here. You really need to like kind of let go of that negativity and you need to like be in a higher version of yourself that is more in tune with their emotions and their energy and life. Maybe you need to be more spiritual. I would probably meditate more because meditation is also a form of self-care. And there's a lot of spiritual stuff that you can do to kind of like realign yourself with that. Um, so I would look more into that. And yeah, it seems like your guides are trying to give you something. And it really is important for you to like kind of embrace that change. Um, let go of those negative thoughts so that you can receive what they're trying to give you. But it's basically saying unless you don't take that leap, like you won't receive anything. So your guides are kind of giving you something but with a condition, right? So take the leap, um, self-care, and then you can kind of start, and that might put you through a few lessons here about how you don't really appreciate some stuff that you should, and then you just kind of like just receive whatever you need to receive here or whatever your guides are trying to give you. And that can be different for everyone. As I said, it could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be moving, it could be like whatever they're trying to give you. um But yeah, pile one, that is your reading for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you liked the video and you want a personalized reading, then my Etsy is linked down below. Thank you. Hi, pile two. If you chose this pile here, this is your reading. We're going to get started with a few oracle cards and then we'll move into tarot. So your first card is birthing a new age, and it says birthing new creations and dreaming a new world into being. I speak with sincerity. I converse with awareness. And for the last one here, you got speak out and communicate and solve conflicts. So I think very clearly your guides are talking to you about needing to communicate with someone. Maybe you're not really, you're holding back a lot. You're not being very honest. You're not wanting to take that initiative that you're supposed to. And you are meant to kind of talk to this person that you're not communicating with. And in not doing so, I think your guides are kind of mentioning how it's not healthy. And I think you kind of know that. And it is something that you should change. And let's take a look at tarot. I'll pull a few cards and then I'll be right back. Okay, pile two. You got the Chariot, you got the Eight of Pentacles, the High Priestess, the Eight of Cups, Page of Pentacles, and Two of Pentacles. So with the Chariot, is pretty much saying this is something that should happen very quickly for you. You might, be avoiding it, and it's not something that really should be happening. With the Eight of Pentacles here, it can talk about how you are just kind of like working and not really like trying to avoid it in some way. That's what I'm kind of getting from that card. And with the High Priestess, I kind of associate a couple major arcanas with Aphrodite. But the High Priestess also talks about someone who's like very spiritual. So it's kind of like your guides are saying this is something that should be happening quickly. You're kind of ignoring this by like being busy. Like you're making yourself busy on purpose to kind of like avoid it. And with the High Priestess, it's like an encouragement from your guides to be more spiritual instead of like letting these old habits and stuff kind of, take over your life. And the Eight of Cups here, if you kind of notice, he's like pouring out that cup. So it's like letting go of old habits and potentially, if you do have this conversation, it can be letting go of a person. Um, because it's not something that you're meant to be doing right now. Like, I'm not saying that that person is going to go away if that is someone who's very dear to you, but it could talk about you like your own habits as well, like you pretty much ignoring the problem. You're not really speaking when you're supposed to. You should be speaking. You should like speak out. Speak out, communicate, and solve conflicts. It's saying literally solve the conflict. And I speak with sincerity and I converse with awareness. Like you're meant to be speaking and you're not. And you're just kind of like ignoring the problem here by making yourself busy. But with this card here, birthing a new age, it's talking about how you should change and how you should kind of bring in, like, let go of those old habits to bring in someone more spiritual, like a more spiritual side of yourself. Um, with the Page of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles, it can talk about how there is a change and it'll bring stability in your life. Because Pentacles can talk about someone who's more stable. And these cards aren't like they're not bad at all. And I think that this stability here is an impact, like an effect from that change that you're making here to bring this more spiritual side out. So your guides are being very clear with you right now to like basically talk, speak out, solve that conflict. And it's up to you if you want to solve it or not. And if you talked it out with that person or, whatever it is, and they don't agree with you, then it's just time to let them go. It's obvious that maybe they're being negative and don't want to, really talk. So it's kind of like, are you actually being petty with this person potentially? Um, like, are you not speaking for a reason and you want them to kind of speak first? Because it seems like it's not from a place of light that you're not speaking, you know? It seems like your guides are trying to say get rid of bad habits or people, if that's, something that kind of relates to you. Um, if they don't let you be honest and speak about your emotions and, really have a conversation with them, then that's not like right for you. Let's pull out some oracle cards though, and maybe that'll give us some information that we might be missing. Seems like this card kind of fell. Live the question. Curiosity, open your mind, live into it. Let's do one more. This one also flew out. It says, lay it on the altar, hand it over, soften, surrender, and forgive. Is there a question that you want to ask this person that you're not really speaking to? Did they hurt you? It could be a reason that you're not really communicating, but your guides are saying to forgive them. Obviously, if it's something that's super serious and it's not, you know, very healthy, then maybe there's a need to kind of forgive them, let them go, and forgive yourself for, you know, putting yourself in that situation. But if it is something that can be salvaged, then you need to forgive them because it seems like this energy that you're in right now is not coming from a place of positivity. It's it's very negative and it's something that your guides want you to get rid of. Like you're kind of distracting yourself and avoiding it rather than like actually getting rid of it and solving it. Um, with live the question, it could be talking about your need to ask them something, but also it says open your mind and live into it. So maybe there is a need for you to like kind of process what you're going through, process your emotions, and process why you act the way that you act when it comes to this type of stuff. And open your mind can also talk about change. So be open to change here, instead of like repeating these actions that you're not meant to be in or not meant to have, sorry. Let's pull out some more oracle cards and that'll be the end of this reading. One here says relax, delight in powdered gold sunshine. So maybe you're overthinking this. Maybe it's making you anxious, but your guides are kind of telling you to like, hey, it's okay, calm down. Like we'll kind of help you through this, and you kind of know what to do because of this reading as well. Let's take these two. So this one says opportunity. There's no use looking for luck. It arrives at unexpected times. The other one says serenity, and it says value quiet days with only the rustling leaves breaking the silence. So these actually came out in a reading from yesterday as well. So that's pretty interesting. Um, Maybe there's a need for you to like, kind of look at that one as well. But with opportunity, I don't think it's really talking about luck here. It's pretty much your guide saying like, hey, this is an opportunity for you to like kind of talk things out with this person. It is something that should happen very quickly for you. So, you know, if they're not taking the initiative, then you should. So go ahead and do that. And serenity. So like value quiet days with only rustling leaves breaking the silence. This can talk about introspection that you should be doing to kind of like get rid of these old habits, but also how um, maybe you're taking things too seriously if this other person isn't being like that horrible, you know? Or uh, it's kind of like to live more in like a state of light rather than darkness. And maybe there is a need for you to like kind of like calm down and not really, you know, overthink things or get too anxious about stuff. But your emotions are still valid for sure. But there is a need for you to like kind of speak, you know? If you let things build up over time, then yeah, you know, it's going to turn into like this huge thing. But if you talk about it in the moment where it's like, oh yeah, you know, like this kind of hurt me, um, and then you kind of talk things out with that person, you know, it's not so much of a big thing anymore. It's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, you know, I'll try to like not do that in the future. Instead of like, you know, this huge blown out argument that maybe you two are gonna have. But you know, the more you wait, the bigger the problem becomes, and I think that really is the lesson here that you need to learn. So try to change that. That is the end of your reading, pile two. If you did like it, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do want a personalized reading, then the Etsy is linked down below. Thank you for watching. Hi, pile three. Welcome to your reading. We're going to get started with some oracle cards here, and then we'll move into tarot. So, your first card here is Trust the Niggle. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? This one talks about I remain in balance with my emotions. And this one says drunk with love. Let love lift you to freedom. To freedom. Okay. So it seems like we have Beyonce here. Um, let's pull out some tarot cards and I'll be right back. So for tarot cards, you got the Six of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, you got the World, you got the Five of Wands, you got Justice, and Four of Swords. So with the Six of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands, it's kind of like you're deciding something. If in relation to like this feeling that you're having and balancing your emotions, maybe you're deciding on like what you kind of like need to do. But with the world, it's kind of like your guides are getting ready to give you something. But I think this feeling isn't necessarily bad because you got the Five of Wands, and that kind of does deal with conflict as well. If you kind of notice, like he's being given something, but people are trying to take it from him. Um, with Justice and the Four of Swords, it's kind of like, you know, things will be right, but also take time to rest. So this can either go two ways. You either need to kind of deal with this conflict, um, like just be in it for now, but things will be fine, but you do need to take time for yourself, or it could also go the way of like you need to rest, and then we can kind of go back to this and maybe it'll like lessen the conflict that you have. Um, but let's pull some more oracle cards and maybe that'll give us more information that we're missing. Okay, I have to cover this card actually. So give me a moment. So you got Stone Goddess, Unwavering Love, Support, and Maternal Line. I'm just gonna leave this here for now. Oop, okay. Let's pull out another one. I'm kind of feeling this card actually. I'm going to cover this card just in case. But this one is the Healing Stones, Tenderness, Care, Gentleness, and Nourishment. So it seems here like maybe you can go ahead and go, like with this conflict, instead of like waiting, because it's kind of like, I think your guides are waiting for you to make a decision actually. And with these oracle cards here, Unwavering Love and Support, and Tenderness and Care and Gentleness and Nourishment, they're kind of like waiting for you to decide what you want to do. If you kind of like want to wait, or if you want to like deal with this conflict. But either way, I don't think there's going to be like a negative outcome. It's more of like one will kind of make you more uncomfortable um, than the other. But maybe that you being uncomfortable will reward you with something later on, right? Maybe your guides will see that and they'll be like, oh, okay. Um, just because they did that, we can give them a little bit more, or, something like that. But I think, this feeling that you have isn't necessarily wrong because there is something here, right? There's a conflict, but they are asking you to remain in balance with your emotions and to let love lift you to freedom. And like love also comes up here again with that Stone Goddess card about love and support. So it's kind of like, I think the decision that you should make here is based on love. And that is the right decision here. So whatever love and your passions decide is that decision that you should make. So this feeling that you have, um, whatever it is for you. If it's like, are you not trusting something, or maybe there's something being offered to you that you don't really know if you should take or not. Your guides are kind of saying you should make that decision based on love. If it's a job, it's like, are you actually going to like this job? Are you going to love it? Is it something that you want? Is it something that makes you happy? If it is, then go ahead, even if there will be conflict. Um, so that's pretty much how you make that decision. And that is the correct way to do it. Let's pull more oracle cards to maybe give us a little bit more information. Self-care came out. So tend to your garden. Another pile also kind of got this one. But I think this is more talking about your emotions, right? So make that decision with love. There might be conflict involved, but take time to rest as well. Yep. You got release and lighten your load. So maybe there is a need for you to release some emotions that are not really serving your highest purpose right now. This one says present. Journey into the garden to escape the two eternities, the past and the future. Ooh, okay, so maybe you're not making the decision and you're hesitating on it. You know, like you're deciding so much because of something that happened in the past. And that's preventing you from like actually moving forward. This talks about the garden, and this one is also talking about the garden. And release can also talk about, you know, releasing the past. It could be about that as well. So maybe there is a need for you to kind of heal and trust and have love. Maybe for yourself, because it is talking about self care, but also for your guides. And release the past because it's not helping you in any way. Don't worry too much about the future because it's also talking about the future here. So that's also very important. But release the past, make your decision with love in mind, and don't forget to kind of self care because it, you know, this is pretty much being brought up a lot here. And I think, you know, there isn't much to worry about here for sure. But there is like a period of you, like, I mean, now actually, you being kind of scared. But there is a need to balance that. But that could be because of the past, and you're really worried about the future as well. But yeah, pile 3, this is the end of your reading. If you liked it, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do want a personalized reading, it's linked on my Etsy down below. Thank you for watching.